Hello, my name is SeanMcGee, and this is my CA3 project for sound implementation and design. This is an Infinity Blades Grassland level, and for the first section of this walkthrough and demonstration, we're going to play the level straight through from beginning to end.
Welcome, Carnivar Prince of Thesia. My name is Yu Lang, last master of the Knights of the Onyx Sun, and we have been awaiting your arrival for many years. However, should you wish to proceed, know that if you fail in your quest, you may never leave.
Master Lang, if you know who I am, then you know why I'm here, what I seek, and how important it is that I succeed. Can you assist in my quest?
You must ascend to the heavens and find the one who watches and sees all, but beware, to reach that far, you must first pass the one who protects.
Halt! Who dare wakes Jardiel, guardian of the Onyx Sun, and seeks entrance to this holy temple?
I, Konavar, Prince of Thesia, seek passage on my quest to recover the Demon Blade.
To pass, you must answer a question. What creature walks 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening?
My answer is man, for he crawls on all fours as a baby, then walks on 2 feet as an adult, and then walks with a cane as an old man.
A reasoned answer, young prince. You may pass.
Hello, Prince Konavar. I am an Everett. I have manned these battlements for many years, and have watched your journey with great interest. Why have you come to this dead place?
I have come seeking the Demon Blade, so that I may defeat the Demon General Kai Sung.
You must find the scene where man sits in judgment of the divine, and ensure all who judge face those they accuse.
You have failed the Conovar, Prince of Thesia, and now you will serve for all eternity as a protector of the demon blade.
In this second section of our demonstration, we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the environment, explaining some of the actions that will happen as we go through. This is going to be done in the viewport. So the first thing, going back to our original walkthrough, was the jump. As you can hear, there's a jump up sound and a landing sound that's connected to whatever surface that the landing takes place on. We also have the sword swing sound. That's on the enter button. But when we combine enter on the swing sound and a trigger box, we get this sound, which is a sound cue being triggered by the trigger box after the swipe sound has been played. As you can hear, there's background music playing at all times. When we interact with a character, the background music drops in order to emphasize the dialogue.
Welcome, Conovar, Prince of Thesia. My name is Yu Lang, last master of the Knights of the Onyx Sun, and we have been awaiting your arrival for many years. However, should you wish to proceed, know that if you fail in your quest, you may never leave.
You may notice in this area that there's a number of ambient sounds such as waves and wind that play. The waves and the wind are placed in different positions throughout the level in order to emphasize that particular ambient sound and control the volume of it in different places within the level. You can also hear that every time we move that there's a footstep being played, and this is all dependent on the surface that the character is making contact with. When we reach this section of the game, there is a more woodland feel to it, so we start to get a more earthy natural tone, so we can hear some insects and the wind has died down. We're also getting birds at play as well, but there's multiple different insect and bird sounds at play. As we get closer to the bridge, we're going to emphasize the wind and the waves. So the wind and the waves really pick up at this point. We have a second character that we can
There
interact
waits
with.
Jardiel, guardian of the Onyx Sun, and seeks entrance to this holy temple.
I, Conovar, Prince of Thesia, seek passage on my quest to recover the demon blade.
To pass, you must answer a question. What creature walks 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening?
My answer is man, for he crawls on all fours as a baby, then walks on 2 feet as an adult, and then walks with a cane as an old man.
A reasoned answer, young prince. You may pass.
So when that interaction takes place, and all these interactions with the characters are based on the T button and a trigger box, we can use the E button and a trigger box to open the door and allow us entry into the room. When we reach the top of the stairs, we trigger a bird flapping sound. There's also a higher volume of wind at this point, and some birds at play as well. We also have a third character that we can interact with. The wind is the loudest ambient sound at this point because we're at a higher altitude. Back through and we the door is actioned on a matinee. It opens and then after 10 seconds it automatically closes itself again and plays the same sound. So down to the final area. And as we see, as we make our way down, we get some more ambient sounds. So we have some birds and some insects. Once we approach the statues, we can rotate each of the statues, and there's a sound trigger on them. They can be rotated back to their original position any number of times. But once we get all 4 statues facing the right direction, a level complete sound plays. It also shows up the whole point of the level, which is to retrieve this special sword. Special sword is now in the hands of this angel, so we can walk over to the special sword and action it, and there we've just picked it up. In order to complete the walkthrough, then we're just going to kill the character, and we're going to do that by jumping off any ledge. Once we jump off the ledge,
Prince of Thesia, and now you will serve for all eternity as a protector of the demon blade.
the level automatically restarts itself. That's the end of the second section of the demonstration. For section 3 of this walkthrough, we're going to look at some of the interaction and some of the sound elements that we've used within the game interaction. So we're going to start off by looking at one of the cues for music that we've used. This is our wind cue that is placed throughout various different points within the game to give different levels of volume and different levels of feel to the ambient sound. What we've done is created, using 3 different wind sounds, a very randomized and very different, unique output every time that it's played. So we have one master sound that comes through a modulator. The modulator changes the pitch and volume of it every time it's played. That plugs into a mixer. Into the mixer also goes 2 other sounds which are modulated and randomized and a slight delay in them, so they play into each other and mixes the 2 sounds together. That is then looped, so it continues to loop this whole process every time that the sound is played. Because these are area looping sounds, they just continuously play over and over in the area that they're put in, and we adjust the volume on the individual instance of the sound in the area that it's been placed. But the fact that all these different elements have added to it means we get a different feel for the wind in each of the areas that it's been placed. We then have a look at a class that I've created, and this is a class called Music. All of the level music has been connected to this class. This allows me to control the volume of the music through a mix, and the mix that we have is very simple, and we can control this mix anytime we want to change the volume or change the pitch or frequency of the music throughout. And this is very useful if you see when any of the characters are interacted with, the music automatically dims down and the vocals become the main sound point within the game. So if we then go on to look at the third person animation blueprint, an example of the interaction that is happening within the level, this is the footsteps interaction. So this is getting the character, deciding what the character is doing when a notification comes in that we've placed within the animation for the walk of the character, the walk and run of the character. And this is to say that when in a certain point in the animation it happens, we want to trigger this sequence. We want to check where the character is, what surface they're on, and then we're going to play the associated sound cue. The associated sound cue with each of the surfaces. So each surface, each material type has a type of sound cue associated with it, and then that is played at the location that the sound takes place, and that location is just under the position of the character. If we then go on to look at the level blueprint, we can see that there's actually quite a lot of interaction taking place within the game. We have the 4 statues which are rotating, and we can go in and take a look at what's happening with one of the statues. Basically, we start off by actioning the trigger box only anytime that the letter R is played and the player is within the trigger box. We then have a flip-flop setup. This allows us to rotate and change what happens depending on the position of the statue. So if the statue is in its original position, we set a variable to donate that to assign the fact that it has been actioned, and we play it. So we play the animation and then we play the sound associated with the animation. If it was in the already rotated position, it comes down, it turns off the fact that it's been played, and then it reverses the animation and still plays the sound. Once the sound has been played, it checks to see if all of the statues are in the correct location. If they are in the correct location, then it drops down the ambient or the background music for the level and checks to see if the visibility of the sword is in play. If it's not, it allows the new sword to take place, or the new sword to appear in the arms of the angel, and then it plays the sound for the level accomplished, and after that sound is played, it resets the ambient background music to the level that it's supposed to be at. Okay, if we take a look at one of the interactions for the characters, this is probably the most complex interaction of the characters. So this is the Jardier character, the guy who's guarding the door. So we check to see a number of things depending on what interaction it is, whether it's the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, depends on the sound that is played. It also begins the interaction as soon as you go up to him. So as soon as you get close to him, he automatically moves and speaks. Then you need to press the T button to keep interacting with him, and depending on how many interactions you have, depends on what sound is played. At that point, when all of the sounds are played, we reset the character back into his original position and destroy the trigger box that started the sound in the first place. But we're doing a lot of checking on what particular point we are in the sequence in order to play the correct sound at the right time. If we then take a look at what happens when the sword is attached, the new sword, so we have to check to see first if the sword is on display. Then we attach the sword to the character and we play the sound at the location, that sound that sort of showed, or the sound that allowed for the player to pick the sword up, and then we destroy the box that actioned all of this. Simple interaction when the bird flapping noise is played as the character comes out of the turret. It's just a simple trigger box and a simple sound at location. The player dying sequence is fairly simple as well. This takes place, there's a trigger box placed just below the level of the main flow, and anytime the player comes off the main level, it triggers that box, drops the level of sound through our sound modifiers on our mixer, and disables all input from the character. It plays the sound, the dialogue sound that indicates that the player has died, and then it puts the music back up and restarts the level. So that is a brief look at the interaction that I have implemented into this Infinity Blade Grasslands game. Thank you very much for listening.